All right, what's up, homies? We are back. Miami Marlins out of the Park Baseball 18 franchise. It is Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. So it's been a while, so I was just looking at what happened in the last episode. I was actually watching the last video. I forget what episode this is, but I was watching the last video, and I could see that we are kind of in hot water with Mr. Loria. So now I'm kind of starting to remember everything that had happened. So just as a brief recap, because it has been a while, you see we finished 68 and 94, 28 games out in the NL East, and I imagine pretty far out in the wild card race. Now, if we go to team history and history index, that was actually our best record since taking over this team. So obviously we took the team over in 2017, so we posted the most wins since 2016, which is the year before we took this team over. Which is not an accomplishment, but after we went 49 and 113 last season, which was the worst record in franchise history, at least we bounced back a little bit. The team did not do all that well. Obviously, the pitching staff, once again, has continued to be our downfall. The bullpen wasn't awful, but it's really just, you see, we actually had the first bullpen ERA in the National League, but our starters have just really not done very well. Biagalski definitely earned a spot in this rotation, but Poteet, I'm going to keep him just because of the potential. He's only 26 years old, but he has not looked very good so far through his first 2 years in the majors. I'm not bringing back Bumgarner. He was kind of like a buy low, sell high option, but that obviously didn't work. Zinski has not turned out very well, and Pomeranz, that was not a good acquisition either. You see, he was with the Royals and the White Sox, so we decided to try to get him, and that didn't work out either. Now, the offense, it wasn't, it was terrible in the fact that we was, 14th in runs scored in the National League. But you see the guy like Alfredo Despain, the free agent we signed from the Japanese League or the Chinese League. Despain, he had 286 with 22 home runs and 60 RBIs. Torres, who was that guy we claimed off of waivers from the Mets, he had a solid year, so we're going to keep him. Tellez, of course, 47 home runs. So our 2, 3, and 4 hitters actually had a very solid season. Even Matthias, he was okay. He slashed 273, 341, 386. Soto was kind of an upgrade in center field for us. You remember this was actually the guy we picked in 2020. So the draft this year, we picked this guy. So hopefully this is the guy that's going to turn around the franchise. But regardless of that, we still do need to find pitching. Our offense, it's okay. Harrison actually wants to leave. He wants to play in a contender at this point in his career, which is understandable. He's 33 years old, so I don't think he's won a ring yet, no. So he wants to get traded. So we're going to try to do that in the offseason. But we have the offensive pieces. Despain, Torres, Tellez, and Soto are going to form a nice core for us. And even, guys like Matthias and Marmolejos Diaz. So we have the offense. Obviously, there's room to upgrade, but we have the offense, and we have the defensive catcher. You see there, really high catcher ability, and that's really important. But especially when it comes to, like, developing pitchers and stuff. Like, I imagine these guys would have been way worse if it wasn't for Maldonado. But we definitely do need to add some pitching. I don't know how we're going to do that. Now, Braxton Garrett, of course, we do have, although he has not panned out like he was supposed to, though OSA is still very high on him, and he's only 23 years old. So, he still has a chance. Last year, he did pretty solid with us in 4 games started. He had a 4.12 ERA. He is a ground ball pitcher. He tops out 93 to 95 miles per hour. So, I think we are going to take a look at this guy. I see this guy. We're going to take a look at Garrett. I think we're going to put him in the rotation, but as for everyone else, I don't know who we're going to put in the rotation, but now we have to go with salary arbitration. I don't want to bring back Maldonado. I'll just find someone else that's good. I'm not bringing back Bumgarner or Pomeranz. Not a lot of minor league free agents. Normally, I just bring back guys that, had solid seasons, so I'll bring back like a guy like Severino Gonzalez, former Philly. Now, I know that there's a way, like, you could just offer contracts to all these guys, and I remember, like, actually a couple of you told me that in the comment section before, but I usually don't give contracts to everyone, just guys that are intriguing or that I have some type of, what's the word? I can't think of the word. It's not the right word, but stock in, right? So I don't offer contracts to all these guys, just some of them, and I think that's all the guys. Yeah, okay. So, arbitration eligible players, I'm not going to bring back Hazelbaker. Rojas, he can go. Torres, we definitely want to bring back. So, what is his arbitration estimate? Does he want? Okay, so he only wants a 1-year extension. His arbitration estimate is, wow, we will not have a lot of money for extensions. Damn. So his arbitration estimate is 5.5 mil. I kind of wonder if I can maybe get that down to just 5. Would that be offensive to him? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yes, it would. Okay, so maybe like So he's still in a good negotiation mood, so let's try maybe 5, because as a team like the Marlins, especially with Loria as our general manager, we have to try to save money as much as possible. So would he like that? Okay, so we do save $250,000 with Ronald Torres, so we're just going to withdraw that offer. We don't want to bring back Hazelbaker, so we're going to let him go. Tellez, we definitely want to bring back, one of our main offensive guys, the only guy in that blockbuster trade that we made with the Blue Jays several years back. So we want to offer him an extension. He wants like a real deal, and I think I'd be fine with this. I feel, especially like if he does end up breaking out, I feel like this would be a cheap deal for him. Now I kind of wonder. I'd be fine with this, honestly. I feel like this is a good deal because you look at Tellez, like he has above average contact skills. He doesn't really have the gap power though, but he does have the raw home run power. We've seen that the past 3 years. You see in 2018 he had 42 home runs. 2019 it fell off to 27, but last year he had 47. So 2 of the past 3 years he's hit at least 40 home runs with us, and that is such a great presence to have in the lineup. Now his average in the first 2 years with us was, you see, 253. Right on the nose, but then last year he upped that to 281. He's last year he slashed 281, 348, 553. He OPS over 900 for the first time. He was close to a 5-win player. Now strikeouts are always going to be an issue with him, but he does have an okay eye. Obviously the pure home run power. Now he doesn't have a lot of speed. He's not excellent defensively, but at 25 years old, this is definitely a guy I want to bring back, and I think I'd be fine with that extension. Obviously, I mean, for $9 million for a guy like that, especially because my feeling is that Loria is either going to step away or die soon, and I'm kind of banking on our next owner being a lot more generous when it comes to money. So that $9 million for a guy like Tellez, I think I'd be fine with that. Now, this is a risk, obviously, on my part, 8 years to, a 25-year-old, but I think I'm going to do this. I think that's fair. So we're going to try to get Tellez to that long-term extension and keep him in Miami for a while, hopefully his entire career. That would be nice. Dylan Floro. Now, who was this guy? This is this guy we claimed on waivers, and he actually had a very solid season for us. So I think I'd like to bring this guy back. I can't imagine he wants all that much. Would he like a long-term extension? No. So he just wants a 1-year deal. So his estimate is 1.3. Could I maybe swindle you for just $1 million? No, okay. So maybe just 1.15. No, okay. This guy's really playing hardball. What about? I know it's pinching pennies at this point, but 1.25. Okay. So we save $50,000. That's it's something if nothing else. Caleb Dirks. So this was the guy we got in that trade with Atlanta. What was that trade? How do I got to go all the way down? Whoops. Okay. There it is. So this was the trade where we got rid of Marcell Ozuna and some other pieces for Micah Johnson, AJ Minter, and Caleb Dirks. So, of course, Micah Johnson is no longer with us. He's with Toronto. AJ Minter, he is with us, and Caleb Dirks is with us as well. So I guess I wouldn't be I don't know. His control is such an issue, though. He's never been great. I mean, he hasn't been terrible. Does he want a lot of money? If he doesn't want a lot of money, I guess I could bring him back because it's always good to just have, serviceable bullpen guys. Now, he wants 1.32. I kind of wonder if I could just get like $1 million out of him. No? Okay. I wouldn't be upset if I couldn't keep this guy, but like a 1.5. No. Not bad. Not bad at all. Really? What about 1.2? Really, dude? You're not even that good. Stop it. 1.25. All right. So we save another $50,000. So now we've saved $100,000, which is something. Okay. Cervenka, 30 years old. He's been solid for us, but I think I'm gonna. Well, I mean, it's another guy too. Like if you take a look at the bullpen, I wouldn't be opposed to keeping him there. Like if you take a look at our rosters and transactions, just see who's ready to come up. And see this Danielson Hero guy is ready to come up, it would seem. So maybe he'll have a spot next year. Nick Birdie, I guess we could also use instead of Cervenka. Nick Pivetta. Oh, I forgot we had Nick Pivetta. Whoops. That's right, he did awful with us, so that's why we sent him down. Parker Buck. Yeah, we're going to let Cervenka go. We're just going to try to get younger. So we're not going to give an offer to Cervenka. We're going to let him walk, although he had a solid year last year. It's tough to let him go, but he's 30 years old. I'd imagine he'd want he only wants 1.5. Nah, we're going to open up a bullpen spot for one of the younger guys. So And Pedro Baez, we are going to, this was our Rule 5 draft pick, 32 years old, so we're going to let him go as well. So we offered a contract to Torres, Tellez, Floro, and Dirks. And let's just go to the mail real quick. Wait, I just saw, who got posted? That's right. So I remember we were looking at this pitcher last time, but I don't think we're going to be able to get him. I imagine he's going to run a pretty penny. Oh, Josh Harrison. Whoops. A team option year for 6.75. Well, no, so we're going to vote. Wait, is there a buyout for that? I mean, even if it is, I'm just going to buy him out because he doesn't want to be here. Whoops. Second year is a team option with a $0 buyout. Okay. So we are going to void the last contract here because he doesn't want to be here. Staff member retires, so we need to get a new pitching coach. We need to get a new assistant GM. And okay, so I'm going to just cut away, get a new pitching coach, a new assistant GM, and I will come back probably around the time when we get news about all the guys we offer contracts to. Alright, so it is Wednesday, November 11th. We got basically everyone we wanted with the exception of Stephen Fife, who just wants, I guess, a major league deal at this point in his career, which is understandable. But, so I found a pitching coach that I'm going to hire. His name is Doug Henry. He is you see his pitching coach focus is ground ballers, personable, conventional manager style, though that doesn't really matter. Good reputation, not that matters all that much, but you see, he has a greater influence on Boomer Biegowski, Skylar Zinski, and Dylan Floro, who we all want to develop into solid pitchers, especially since Zinski's only 23 and Biegowski's only 26. So hopefully that helps them develop into solid starting pitchers for us because that, as we all know, is what we need. But the award season has started, so Gold Glovers. Biegowski actually won a Gold Glove at pitcher. Travis d'Arnaud at catcher, Brandon Belt at first, Ozzie Albies at second, Josh Harrison at third. So we had two Gold Glovers, which is neat. Orlando Arcia at short, David Dahl on left, Jaron Kendall in center, the guy that went in the 2017 draft with the second overall pick to the Cincinnati Reds. And of course, in real life, the Reds were lucky enough to get Hunter Green, but seems like Kendall would have been a solid choice as well. And in right, Jason Hayward. How old is he now? He is 31 years old. Okay. So in the AL, Brent Honeywell of the Tampa Bay Rays, Billy Swihart at catcher, Jeffrey Marte at first, Yohan Moncada at second, Manny Machado third, Andrelton Simmons short, Rafael Ramirez in left, Mike Trout in center, no surprise, and Nomar Mazara in right field. He turned into quite the stud in this. I know my Phillies franchise that I also play along with this, he did not turn out this well, which is actually a little surprising, but in this he is definitely a stud. So tomorrow is the relievers of the year. I doubt we got any of them. Nope. So Kenley Jansen was the reliever of the year, followed by Brad Boxberger of the Philadelphia Phillies and Felipe Rivero of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And in the AL, Alex Claudio, followed by Luis Avalon and Addison Reed. So Addison Reed's still thrown around, which is nice. He is 31 years old. Wow. I always feel like these guys are like way older than they actually are. That's crazy. Tomorrow is Silver Slugger, so it would be nice, maybe. That's right. I forgot that the Cubs had this guy that they got on a scouting discovery. What a stud. Wow. But in the NL, your Silver Sluggers were Joan Gregorio with the San Francisco Giants. Yasmani Grandal, Davalos, Willie Calhoun, Chris Bryant, Edmundo Sosa, Randall Grichuk, Trent Clark, and Bryce Harper. And in the AL, Francisco Mejia, Bobby Bradley, Fernando Perez, Joey Gallo, Xander Bogaerts, Anthony Santander, Mike Trout, Nomar Mazara, and Rafael Devers. So, and now what is tomorrow? Rookie of the Year. I don't think we're going to have anyone at the top. Let's see. And that was the assistant general managers that we got, Kevin Towers. I don't know if it shows it here. Yeah, I don't think it shows it here, but really good at scouting majors and minors, which is what I'm most concerned about. And he had solid ratings in the other two categories as well, international and amateur, so that's not... I'm not really too concerned about that, but in the AL, the Rookie of the Year was Bobby Bradley, followed by Billy Rutherford and Joshua Lowe, and in the NL, it was Nick Senzel, so this was the guy they took in 2016, I believe, in the 2016 draft. Let me take a look. I think it was 2016. Is that right? What is it? History. That's what I want. Let me see. It had to be 2016, yeah. So this was a guy they took in the 2016 draft, and it seems like he won Rookie of the Year, which is good for them. Followed by Alex Destino and Alfredo Despain finished third in Rookie of the Year voting. That's pretty neat. Hopefully he doesn't just go off a cliff and start declining after this year, because we have a pretty sizable amount invested in this guy, although of course we can just opt out of that after 2022. But having said that, let's just keep going here. Manager of the Year. Hopefully I get it by managing this piece of crap team, as I say every year. But I doubt that's going to happen, so it's all good. So it was Dave Roberts. I feel like he's won it multiple times in this save. And in the AL, it was, who was it? It was David Bell. Is that the third baseman, David Bell? It's got to be, right? Because he used to play for the Philadelphia Phillies. It's got to be him, right? I got to look. Hold on. So I'm going to look this up on my phone. I got to see if David Bell was born on, what day was it? September 14th. David Bell. Is this guy, is this him? September 14th, 1972. It is. How about that? David Bell, former Philadelphia Philly, won Manager of the Year at the Toronto Blue Jays. Good for him. Got to ring that bell, David. That's what I always used to say when I was a kid. All right, fair enough. So let's move on ahead here. We are getting close to the day when free agents officially file. So let's. Oh, that's right. Completely missed the Cy Young Award. So in the NL, the Cy Young was Noah Syndergaard, followed by Clayton Kershaw and Michael Lorenzen. And in the AL, it was Luis Severino, followed by Brent Honeywell and Lance McCullers. And in the NL, your MVP, Bryce Harper, followed by Noah Syndergaard and Luis Davalos. And in the AL, it was Fernando Perez of the Cleveland Indians, followed by Mike Trout and Nomar Mazara. So now we're just going to simulate up here until we get to the day when the free agents file. And I'm not too sure what I want to do in free agency. If we have the money, first of all, because I'm not too sure our financial situation off the top of my head. But if we do have some money, I would love to get some starting pitching, because that's what we could really. Because I feel like we had just one more solid starting pitcher, assuming that Zinski and Biagowski do all right. I feel like we could, be close to a 500 team. Oh wait, the playoffs are beginning in the Arizona Fall League. Whoops. Did we make it? No, we lost. Damn. Oh, we didn't even make it. Oh, okay. Well, that's a shame. All right, fair enough. So the Salt River Rafters won the Arizona Fall League. So your Mesa Solar Sox did not even make it, unfortunately. But I guess they made the tournament, but they did not make the finals. But oh well, Nick Ramirez of the Salt River Rafters was the most valuable player for the 2020 Arizona Fall League, and we did not have any. Yeah, so none of our players finished in the top three. But oh well. So Arizona Fall League is now over. Mesa Solar Sox could not bring home the title, which is okay. It's always next year. Now let's go to tomorrow, and this is the big day. So international free agents, who do we got? There's normally at least one good guy most of the time. And it looks like this is a very weak class. Yes, it is. So there's not one good person in this class. So a very weak class. Free agents file the top names: Hyunjin Ryu, Jeff Samardzija, Drew Smiley, John Lester, Yasmani Grandal, Josh Donaldson, Francisco Liriano, Gio Gonzalez, Matt Carpenter, Martin Perez. Just some of the names. Obviously, we're not going to be able to afford most likely any of them. But just taking a look here at our lineup and depth charts, let's just, as I always do, let's just clear this and clear that. So I'd like to use Reese McGuire as our backup. I know it says he wants to be in the starting lineup, but I guess we could always trade him, I suppose, although he's not looked upon very highly. Well, OSA looks upon him pretty highly, but I'd like to trade him maybe. I wonder what I could get for him, out of curiosity. Shop player around, because I'd like to get something for him if that's possible, because I don't really like his catcher ability, especially when it comes to developing these pitchers. And I'm looking at all these names up here. There's some interesting ones. Come on. So I saw Will Myers. I'm not going to trade for Will Myers because we don't really need a guy like him. But all right, let's see. So we got Mark Zagunis, New Jersey kid. Dwight Smith Jr. How about that? Let's see. Who do we got? So I'm kind of looking for somebody young, maybe a guy like this. Wow. Okay. Yeah, maybe this guy. Alexis Pantoja. Yeah, I might do that, actually, if there's no one else better. Tyler Jale, he's a relief pitcher, no stamina. We could always use relief pitchers, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose we could always use relief pitchers. Gene Cone, maybe. I really like that second baseman from I think it was from the Indians, Michael Geddes. Oh, I don't know. Nah, really solid. He's a speed and fielding guy, but not much else. Andy Ibanez. Now, I don't get why they're always so eager to let this guy go. Because it seems like he could be pretty solid, but I mean, I don't really think we need him. I mean, taking a look at our lineup, we have Matthias, although he can play short, kind of, although his best position is at second. Can Ibanez play anything? So Ibanez could potentially play third. So that's something we could do. Get McGuire out of here. So we could put Tellez at first. Whoops, nope, not second, first. So we could put Tellez at first. We could put Torres at second base. We could put, Matthias. Could we put Torres at short? Okay, so we could maybe put Torres at short. We could put Matthias at second or third. Yes, we could put him at second. We could put Ibanez at third. Because we do have JT Riddle, but I think I'd rather have Ibanez, honestly. Then we have Marmalade. Well, then we have Despain, who we can put in left field. Nope. Whoops. Despain we could put in left field. Soto we can keep in center field. Right field, I guess we can go either Diaz or Soltis, unless there's another option. And then we could put Ibanez at third. So I think we're going to do that deal. I think we're going to try to get Andy Ibanez from the Texas Rangers. He did not do very well in Texas last year, though. In fact, his 3 years in the majors, he's only had one solid season. Even then, that was only for 21 games. So I'm kind of taking a risk on this guy because it seems like he's never panned out at the major league level. Although he's never really gotten like a large opportunity, but still, it seems like he's just never like put it all together. At 27 years old, too. Christian Walker, maybe? No. I think I'm going to do that Andy Ibanez deal. I'm going to try it. So, like, the way I see it, that makes sense in my head. I'm taking a chance on a guy that's never put it together at the major league level. Whereas, you look at a guy like Reese, he's coming off a season where he just, hit 304, 376, 403, although, in only 98 games. He started 70 of them, though. And even the year before, he's still OPS close to 700. He was close to a 2-win player. So, the way I see it, I'm taking a chance on a potential, above-average player who just hasn't put it together yet. So, let's do that. So we're going to complete the trade. While not approving us by a lot, this would not really hurt us either. Okay, so we're going to get Andy Ibanez in that trade. Fans, they are not all that happy that we lost Reese McGuire, but I think that was a good deal on my part. So who do we want? DFA'd. And then we want Andy Ibanez. So then we could put Andy Ibanez at third base. Then we just need a catcher. And we don't really need a right fielder all that much. If anything, we could just put Marmolejos Diaz there, and we could put Despain maybe in right field. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll put Despain in right. We can put Diaz in left. Although he's not really that great in left field either, but I'll take the chance on it. Peterson, he wants to be a bench player, so... And then Soltis, he wants to be a bench player, so he can play... Can Peterson play center? No. He's listed as a center fielder, but he's not that great. Riddle wants to be a bench player. He can play second and third. Nunez wants to play... Well, doesn't want to play. All right, so maybe we just find like some bench pieces, if nothing else. We definitely need a starting catcher that's really good behind the plate. And pitching-wise, we are going to be using a 5-man rotation again. Back to 1. And then we want to clear the pitching staff. So I think we'll have Biagalski go into the season next year, as of right now, as our number 1. Potit can go in as our number 2. And then I guess we can go, perhaps maybe Braxton as our 3. Zinski as our 4. And then we do need one more starting pitcher. Well, we do have Sean Reed Foley, but he's going to be out for 9 months. So I don't think, because what's that take you at? Like, let's say hypothetically now it's December, so January, February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, so he's going to be back, at the earliest, late August, early September. So we can't really count on Reed Foley, but he can't be on the disabled list at this point in the year. So I think we're going to use Floro and Steckenrider as our stoppers. Just, they did really well last year, so 7th in close game. And then these guys can maybe be our middle relief guys, perhaps. Just like that. And so maybe just on one more bullpen guy and a starter. So we need a bullpen guy, a starter, catcher, and maybe some depth for the bench. So let's just take a look here at who's available. So let's go to the offseason center. just like that. All right, so I see some names there that weren't there before, which is what always happens. Taijuan Walker, $25 million for 10 years. Obviously, we don't have the money for that. How much money do we have out of curiosity? We have $26 million for free agents, so not a ton of cash, but we will make it work. So I'm going to cut out here. I'm going to try to find some guys who I can sign for maybe cheap, and hopefully I can do that. So I'll be back when I find some intriguing free agents. All right, it is Wednesday, January 13th, 2021, and we have a lot of news. So this is the last thing I'm going to do, the last segment of this video before I end it. But Hall of Fame voting results. So if we take a look here, Jim Thome and Todd Helton were inducted into the Hall of Fame. Thome in his 4th year on the ballot, and Helton on his 3rd year. Moose seems like he'll probably get in next year. Halladay will probably get in next year. And then you see only 2 guys were dropped off the ballot this year, C.J. Wilson and Barry Zito. So it seems like Sosa's not going to make it in. Schilling's not going to make it in. Manny, it's going to be very, very close. It depends. Sheffield's not going to make it in. And that is that. So I made some nice moves, I think, this offseason, but be sure to let me know what you think. So taking a look here first at the lineup, I got my 2 new catchers. We have Shane Rowland, formerly of the Independent League, which is a pretty neat signing, right? So this guy, hopefully he turns out to be a pretty solid player, and I don't know why I have him as the starter, but I'm going to have Christian Vasquez as the starting catcher, formerly of the Boston Red Sox and Chicago White Sox, as well as Shane Rowland. So offense, nothing to write home about for both of those guys, but defense, you see even Vasquez is deemed a mini Yachty, which is, of course, a nod to Yadier Molina of the St. Louis Cardinals. Both of them really good behind the plate, which is why I signed both of them. I'm not too concerned about offense. I'll just have them hit 8th in the lineup and go from there. I made another trade, I believe. Yes, I did, but it's not for offense. I signed Steven Piscotty to be my backup corner outfielder. See, he just wants to be a bench player now. He's fragile, which is going to be a little bit of a concern, but really solid in the field, both at left field and at right field. So... And you see, he is seen as the leader in the clubhouse and never shows any lack of effort. He gets along with everyone. So offensively might not be anything to write home about, but defensively it's the reason why I signed him. I don't know who I'm going to put as my backup first baseman or center fielder yet. I might sign somebody. I might use like a guy like Dustin Peterson or, Renato Nunez, someone, Casey Soltis, someone in the minors or, whatever. But for right now, that's all I did on the offensive side. Pitching, of course, is where he made some moves. Now, the big one is I signed Jeff Samardzija just to a 2-year deal. I wanted to invest most of the money we had available this offseason into not a top-flight starting pitcher because we didn't really have the money for that, but a serviceable starting pitcher that's going to eat innings for us. And he might be 35 years old, but he's very durable. You see his injury proneness is normal, so no worry there that he's going to get injured. He can sacrifice bunt, which is actually pretty neat. But you see 75 stamina. You see over the past 6 seasons, he's hit the 200-inning mark in 5 of the last 6. So I'm not really too concerned. I really think he can do that again. He's not going to be a stud. He's not going to be an ace for us, right? He will be our number 1 starting pitcher, but obviously he's not going to perform like an ace. But if he can just, do something close to maybe like a 4 ERA, while hitting that 200-inning mark, that would be perfect. That would be ideal. And as I say, he's only with us for 2 years, so not a long-term investment. It's not like we're going to be contending for anything in the next 2 years anyway. So I figured sink most of our available money this offseason into a starting pitcher, and we got Shark. So going into next year, our starting rotation will be Jeff Samardzija, Boomer Biagalski, Cody Poteet, Braxton Garrett, and Imani Abdullah. Now, I don't know how long this guy's going to be on the team, but this was the Rule 5 pick, and I'm really taking a chance on this guy. I usually don't go for pitchers who are extreme fly ball pitchers, but he's really good defensively. He's got a lot of intriguing ratings. Now, he's never played above Double-A, but last year in Double-A, he pitched a 3.01 ERA and 161 and 1/3 innings pitched, 28 games started. He did let up 14 home runs. Obviously, he's an extreme fly ball pitcher, 161 strikeouts, 49 walks. But I want to see if maybe I can get something out of this guy. Obviously, the pitchers I've had in my system have just not worked out, most of them. So I'm going to give this guy a chance to see maybe if he can impress all of us, and hopefully he can be a fixture of this rotation for years to come. And obviously, since he's a Rule 5 draft pick, he's a cheap addition. So I'm going to end up signing Skylar Zinski down to AAA just because I think he could probably benefit from a little more time. Clearly, he's only 23 years old, right? So I think that, whereas a guy like Imani Abdullah, he's kind of, He's progressed more at this age. I feel like Zinski might benefit from some more time down in I guess technically up in New Orleans, but that's what I did. And then for the bullpen, I also got Tyler J. That was the guy you saw when I was shopping around. Who was it? Who was I shopping around? I forget who I was shopping around, but Tyler J showed up in another, because I was shopping around one of our minor league catchers, Roy Morales, and this guy came up again. So I guess the Twins were really, they really wanted to get rid of him for whatever reason. They really wanted Roy Morales, so I just did a straight up 1-for-1 trade. So hopefully this guy will help our bullpen be as good as it was last year. Well, maybe not as good, because that's a little unrealistic to think, but hopefully he'll just, let our bullpen, be solid. He's only 26 years old. He's only making $535,000. So you see his Major League service time, only 37 days. So hopefully we're going to have this guy for a long while. Really intriguing ratings and ground ball pitcher, 5-star potential. So hopefully he turns out like we want him to. So going into next season, as I said, our rotation is going to be Samardzija, Biegowski, Poteet, Garrett, and Abdullah, at least for now. And then if Abdullah doesn't work out, we'll offer him back to, who did he come from? Tulsa? Yeah, the Dodgers organization. We'll offer him back to the Dodgers organization, and then we can just call up Zinski if Abdullah doesn't work out. And then our bullpen, Jay, Floro, Steckenrider, Dirks, Minter, Maurer, and Hendricks. So we're going to go into the season with that pitching staff. And then for the lineup, I haven't really said it yet, but you're going to have Christian Vasquez at catcher, Ratty Tells at first, Mark Bataille at second, Andy Ibanez at third, Ronald Torres at short, Jose Marmolejos Diaz in left, Luis Soto in center, and Alfredo Despain in right field. So I'm kind of happy with the team I've constructed. There wasn't really a ton of changes I made from last offseason. This offseason, I added a couple starting pitchers. I, completely redid my catching spot, right, in the depth chart. But and I signed, a backup outfielder, and I traded for Andy Ibanez. But overall, I'm, pretty content with what I did this offseason, given that I don't really have a ton of money to spend. I can't be giving guys like, what did he get? I can't be giving guys like Taijuan Walker a 7-year, $163 million contract as much as I would like to. And I took a look at the Japanese guy. What was his name? I forget what his name was. Did I accidentally delete that message? I think I did. Which is a shame. What was his name? Damn it. I can't remember his name, but I can't sign a guy like that. The pitcher we were looking at, let's go with that. I can't sign a guy like that to like a 6-year deal worth close to $20 million a year. I just don't have the money for that. Now, when Loria eventually leaves or dies or whatever, hopefully we get an owner that will allow us to spend a little more money. But as of right now, it's just not in the cards. But I'm happy with what I did, and hopefully you guys are too. Be sure to let me know down below. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Enjoy the rest of your day.